Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, chapter 914 of One Piece is out, so if you haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so because I will be spoiling you. But now that you have, let's begin. You know, sometimes the timing of things just work out. As you guys will know if you follow my channel, I made a video just the other day about the possibility that Oda has taken inspiration from the Seven Samurai the movie and is incorporating various elements of that into the plot of Wano. And this chapter I feel like supported that even more than it was previously. I highly suggest you go watch that video because I don't want to reiterate something that I literally just talked about. But I thought that it was interesting that Otama yet again was captured, which I think has various relevance to the story of the Seven Samurai. Of course, Luffy and Zoro are going to retrieve her and save her. The town that Luffy and Zoro were brought to by Otsuru happens to be called the Village of Leftovers. And again, I'm seeing some sort of importance here for the fact that this is a village that has been taken advantage of. They need defending and they need saving. And I think more importantly, we learned that O-kiku is actually a samurai. So in my previous video, I counted up to 6 samurai and then speculated that maybe the 7th one might be a new character. And now we have that new character. Anyway guys, I do think it was a perfect time to drop that theory because after this chapter, I'm feeling it even more. But yeah, let's talk about o-kiku, guys. Is o-kiku a trap? Do you guys think that she's a trap? Is this just a weird Wano thing? Is this a weird Japan thing? Can someone explain this to me, why it's suggested that she might be male? If you guys ask my opinion, I think that she is female. And I think the reason for the masculine pronouns is more related to whether or not women are allowed to be samurai in Wano. I believe what Oda is trying to do is tie this story back to Zoro's own flashback with Kuina. Zoro is most certainly somebody who would readily accept a female swordswoman if she was as good as she claims to be. Now, of course, I don't know exactly how Wano works, whether it's okay for girls or women to be samurai or not, but I have the general impression that they seem to be very traditional. At the very least, it seems likely to me that women do not often become samurai, so maybe there's certain ways that samurai should act, should speak, should be, and most of those are male-influenced. Now let's talk a little bit about the history of Wano. This is something that we speculated at length many times in the past, and the truth seems to me to be very close to what we were talking about, and some of the ideas that we discussed. I see some people a little bit confused about this, but the Kozuki family used to rule over Wano itself, meaning that they were Oden Kozuki was essentially the emperor of Wano. Or if, he happened to hold the title of shogun, that's doubtful, but maybe he was a shogun, whatever, he ruled over Wano 20 years ago. I think that it's likely that Oden Kozuki lost this title the moment that he went sailing with the Whitebeard and Roger pirates. Or maybe shortly after that. It was during this time that he was away that the current shogun probably enacted some sort of coup. So anyway, some people are thinking that Oden Kozuki actually died nearly 20 years ago, making Momonosuke's remembrance of what has occurred very sketchy given that he is 8 years old. But I am less confused because I think that there's a very clear differentiation between somebody who ruled over the entirety of Wano and somebody who was later called a daimyo. We learned back in Zou that Oden Kozuki before his death was a daimyo. A daimyo means landowner, not the ruler of Wano, somebody who is underneath the ruler. So my best guess, guys, is that Oden Kozuki may have lost the title of emperor, but he was not initially killed, essentially demoted through one means or another. And this goes back to what I was thinking before, that Oden Kozuki was protected by his connections with both the Roger and Whitebeard pirates. If you kill Oden, perhaps you bring the wrath of the Whitebeard pirates to shore. It's not worth it. Whitebeard, remember, was called the strongest man in the world. I think it was only until after Whitebeard died that the Shogun and Kaido made their moves. But if we are assuming that Oden Kozuki perhaps willingly gave up his title of emperor, or at the very least wasn't willing to kill or die for the sake of keeping it, it gives you kind of a greater impression of what he might have been like. I think that this also adds up with the idea that he abandoned his kingship by becoming a pirate in the first place. Ruling was not very important to him. But yeah guys, aside from this, I really don't think that there's a whole lot to discuss from this chapter. There's just odds and ends worth mentioning. First off, it was stated by one of the gifters that the farm had been attacked several weeks earlier. This obviously wasn't due to Zoro and Luffy. Maybe this is the actions of Kinemon, or maybe Law, or another faction or character that we have yet to meet. Looking at the gifters' powers themselves, you can see why it's incredibly useful. Obviously, I don't think it's the same as actually having a devil fruit, but they clearly got stronger. Having better hearing, being able to fly, being able to run fast is a clear advantage. I thought that it was interesting that Zoro saved Otsuru again. If you guys remember from the when Otsuru was introduced, there was the idea that her as a character was inspired by a famous Japanese folklore story, Tsuru no Ongeishi. And the idea of the story essentially is that somebody saved Tsuru, and then she repays the debt. So the more times Zoro saves her, the larger this debt grows, the more likely she will do something game-changing. I feel as though. At the beginning of the chapter, we got to see who appears to be Bellamy, in an offshoot of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet cover stories, essentially making him an officially unofficial Straw Hat Grand Fleet member. This was pointed out to me by Revujo, the guy who makes all of my thumbnail art, but there is actually a tie between this cover story with Bellamy and Don Quixote de la Mancha. In that book, Don Quixote was delusional and thought that windmills were giants, and here we can see Bellamy standing before giant windmills. And lastly, the chapter ends with Law and his crew observing Zoro and Luffy attacking Kaido's and the Shogun's base camp, clearly intent on trying to stop them. I think it should be pointed out that Law has the ability to almost instantaneously transport himself and others great distances using his Devil Fruit ability, so it's possible that Law gets there actually pretty quickly. That being said, I don't see how he stops Luffy and Zoro from doing something, and that may be just enough to catch the Gifters and Kaido's crew's attention, completely ruining any plan that the Strats were trying to execute in secrecy. And if I'm honest, I'm glad, because we went through the entire Whole Cake Island arc with the Strats trying to be low-key and secretive, and it's a nice change of pace just to, kick down the door and be like, we're here, fight us. But yeah guys, that's pretty much all I had to say today. As always, I'm curious as to what you guys think, whether you noticed something from the chapter that I may have missed. Just share your thoughts. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always guys, have a wonderful day.